And welcome to this week's exciting installment of your favorite current affairs show, Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. We're coming to you live, Khona la Kumamba Phambili, SABC 1 Mzansi for sure, in a new studio, in a new time slot. Kwaze kwamnandi ukuthi nibe nani, ukuthi sibe nani namhlanje babukeli. Mina ke ngingumajalu Alisha uNhlanhlo. Uyazi ishongololo engisaba ukulibamba sengifikile. Mbukeli sinabantu lana abaningi kwimindeni yethu abaphilayo nabangasekho, abasebenza iminyaka bayishiya leyo msebenzi bengazange kodwa bayithola imali zabo zeimpesheni. Mbukeli kumanje ke kunezimali ebalelwe ngaphezulu kwa40 billion wamarandi engakakhokhelwa phela abanikazi bayo. Asingabe sachitha isikhathi mbukeli, ake singene shiqe odabeni lethu namhlanje. Mbukeli, could you be one of the millions of people whose sweat or that of your relatives has not been fully rewarded and compensated after iminyaka yokuthi besebenze kulezo indawo? Well, the Financial Services Conduct Authority could be trying to find you in order to lay a claim on the part of the 42 billion rand sitting unclaimed. Well, to tell us more about these funds and how possible claimants can access that money, let's extend a very warm welcome to our guest, namhlanje sinaintokazi usisitakalani Lukhaimane, all the way from the Financial Services Conduct Authority, and she joins us via Skype. Sinayo futhi insizwa lapha ubaba uphumzile mda obuya kwi-Government Pensions Administration's Agency, yona-ke EGPAA. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us, Sister Takalani. Let's start with you. Tell us a bit about ukuthi nina umsebenzi wenu nenzani.
Thank you so much for inviting us onto your show. The Financial Sector Conduct Authority is the regulator in the financial sector. We ensure that customers are being treated fairly, and we make sure that the conduct of the financial institutions that we regulate is in compliance with the laws that we regulate in the different sectors. Right. So one of those sectors that we would regulate would be the retirement benefit sector. And under that, we look after ensuring that funds are paying their benefits. And one such benefit would be the unclaimed benefits that we're talking about today. All
right. Babumda, thank you so much for joining us. Insizwa, welcome to Yilungelo Lakho. Khawusixelele kancinci siyayazi already Government Pensions Administration's Agency, but in relation to today's topic, I mean, almost 48 or 42 billion ihleli unclaimed data. What do you think is the biggest contributing factor to this? Is it lack of awareness on the part of beneficiaries or kutheni that?
Nkosi msasazi, nkosi nababukeli be-SABC. Unyanisile nyana apha GPF sina unclaimed benefits nathi. Iqhaki isikakhulu abantu bayazi into banemali lapha eGP efuna bazoyiclaima, ingakumbi i-beneficiaries, mainly ku-death cases. Once kusweleke imember ebengumsebenzi karhulumente, ufumanisa uba i-relatives zakhe abantwana nenkosikazi azaba mazithini. So once ke ngoba ngakwazi mathini imali yahlala linde bona ngokusuggest bafumana ithi bafuna. Once bafumana, then we start to pay from there.
Sister Takalani, what do you attribute as the biggest challenge when it comes to the lack of claimants coming forward? It's because maybe utata bekaphangela in a certain industry and the family doesn't necessarily have that information to come forward and claim these benefits. But in your sector, what have you discovered to be the biggest contributor in the lack of claimants coming forward to claim their benefits?
And I think ours is similar with the GPF. Ours is also that people were not aware, especially when they left employment. They were not aware that they had a benefit as a provident fund or a pension fund at the time. A lot of people came to work. You know, a lot of people, if we're talking about the 60s, 80s, came to work here in Joburg, in the mines. And when they left, or when employment was terminated, they then went home, and they never claimed any of their monies. So it's really a combination of the fact that people did not know, and also with what Mr. Mdais also indicated, with death benefits, their kids might not know where to start looking for a benefit. And as it stands now, you know, where the employer might not have updated that person's details, or even not even have had those details. You know, if we're talking about that far back, you might not have used the correct address when you were giving it to your employer. So the fund does not have that information. It doesn't have updated information. You know, I keep making the example that today everyone might have a cell number, but if we're talking about 20, 25 years back, that wasn't the norm. So when you want to start trying to look for somebody, it's very difficult in terms of the information that you have available to you, but also people coming forward, they might not be aware that they've got a benefit. And hence, shows like yourselves is so important because we get the message out there.
Tatumta, maybe how long have some of these benefits actually remained unclaimed? It's been about 20 to 26 years and onwards, but let's look at the reality. And what are you currently doing to try and trace those beneficiaries that might still be out there?
Beneficiaries, the benefits, unclaimed benefits, zihlala as long umuntu engayiclaim imali yakhe. Until the until now to realize into kukho imali engayifumananga, then you can come anytime uzofuna imali yakho. Isekhona siyigcinile. We'll pay you.
Njani tatuphumzile bazawudinga ntoni aba bantu? They can't just rock up to your office kaloku besithi utatami ndicinga uba wephange lapha 50 years ago, and then and no documents to prove anything. I-process isebenza njani tata?
No. You know, CGPF sine road shows sijikeleza ikhantri yonke. Sizama ucampaign sicela abantu aba ikhona imali ekhoyo abantu abangazange baziclaima, be it your father, be it your parents.
Yes, go ahead, Tatumta.
Be it your parents, ikhona imali ekhoyo all over the country. Siyenza loo nto leyo every year. Other than that, sinabantu abajikelezayo ikhantri le yonke bezama ukufunana nabantu. So that's why babhatala abantu abantu. Thirdly, kwalapha eofisini yethu abePitoli sinabantu abafonela abantu bonke bezama baleqa into bazofumana imali zabo. On top of that, sina offices all over the country where people can come and knock and ask for their benefits. So in program intense yofuna abantu bazofumana imali zabo. Got a lot of other programs as intense which are trying to get these people bazofumana imali zabo.
Sister Kalani, is it only South Africans who can actually account for all these benefits? Is it only just purely South Africans, abantu abebephangela from Fanduka af that have left their monies in this 42 billion?
No, it's definitely not only South Africans. If you think about specifically in the mining sector, we have been working together with Malawi, Swaziland, Mozambique, Botswana, where we've done similar to the GEPF. We've also done road shows. And we work with associations in those industries, such as the ex-mine workers associations, to try and have them be our, lack of a better word, our foot soldiers on the ground, to try and assist us in tracing and paying members as well. So it's definitely not only attributable to South Africans. It is anyone who would have been employed in South Africa for a company in South Africa that had a retirement fund and did not claim their money. outside of nationality, they would that 42 billion would include them as well.
Okay, and when I see you shaking your head, in the government scheme, is it just the South Africans that are within this amount of money?
Bakhona abantu kanti abesebenza kurhulumente abemkileyo apha eSouth Africa baya overseas.
Yes.
Kule efforts zethu zozama bafumana sibatracer siyafumana i-calls now overseas athi umuntu ndifumene i-information ethi kusekho imali yam ese-GEPF, and we pay them, we engage them, and we arrange the money so that they can be paid successfully.
All right. Okay, Mbukeli, uyazivela ukuthi kuthiwa ihleli le mali is about 42 billion wamarandi. Mangabu nobaba wesebenze emayini noma kuyikhampani eyithize eningazi ngazo, mhlawumbe wesebenze eGoli wahamba wafike washona, ake ninyusa amasokisi nizobuza ukuthi kahle kahle ningayithola kanjani le mali, nifonele emsebenzini la ubaba esebenza khona. Ilungelo lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Ungayindawo, we back shortly after this. Bugeli, welcome back. You're still watching Yilungelo Lakho live here on SABC 1. Ingcingo zethu ke sezivuliwe, ungasishayela ucingo noma usendele i-email ku-consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyatholakala futhi ku-Facebook. Othi ngikuphi inamba ngoba sezizintsha Mbukeli. Inamba zethu ezintsha zithi 011 714 5958 and 714 5817. Nazi zizovela lapho kwi-screen sakho Mbukeli. Ungasithinta ke namhlanje i-topic yethu idila nokuthi unclaimed benefits mayelana nempesheni abantu ababesebenza bakudala from about 20 to 26 years ago. Abantu imali zabo abazange bayiclaim beza bazosebenza emayini or enkampanini noma inkampani zavala, kodwa lezo imali zihleli lapha. Kuthi ugovernment uyanifuna kanye nayo iFSCA iyanifuna ukuthi izame phela ukuthi inikeze imali zenu. My guest today uSistakalani Lokhaimane from the FSCA alongside uTatu Phumzile Mda of the Government Pensions Administrations Agency. Ungasfonela ke Mbukeli usicele nawe ukuthi sikusize. Let me take some Facebook messages that have come through quickly. Uthi Vincent Sipiwe uthi, but it is so sad for some of us. Instead of getting money, we'll say you have to work because of our family backgrounds, but it's fine. Sibonelo Mfana Futhi says, I hope my father's name will be there because I've been trying to follow up his pension funds, but I cannot get help. Tatumta, maybe what are some of the biggest problems xa abantu besiza kuni bezothi bazoclaima? Yintoni le abafika kuyo and you turn them around and you cannot assist them in relation to, of course, having access to the funds abazowaclaim?
Sasazi, ingxaki sibambeni most of the time. Iyokuqala yoba in that cases umuntu ozakuthi akusinguye lo kufanele uzakuthi.
Okay.
Uzela emele omnye umuntu. Now sithi ke thina hamba uyofuna siyavuma khona imali yalo muntu kodwa i-beneficiary ayinguwe ngubani ngumntana i-beneficiary ayingotata ayo brother or sister umntana. Hamba uyoqala umntana okanye inkosikazi hamba uyoqala inkosikazi. Iba lapha into abantu ngokufumana uba i-families yaqabana ngokwazi into yoba ngubani efanele babenefite kule benefit. That's number one. That's number one. Yesibini into yoba abantu bahlala kude kuna-offices zethu. Abantu bahlala ezilalini far away from offices. Now, as much as umuntu simxela uba sifuna ii-documents ezithile, now to come back as sizo-document, ufumana umuntu imali akanayo kakuhle kwiingxaki ezinjalo for lo muntu ufanele uba aclaime, une-financial issues, he can't come to our offices to submit these documents. Zingxaki ezinjalo ezibangela abantu athi ngoseyazi angakwazi usubmit i-documentation. And lastly as well, njenge-beneficiaries, i-beneficiaries ngabantwana abancinci. At some stage, i-beneficiaries refer them to the Justice Department because xa umntana semncinci imali siyibhatalela ku-Justice Department, imali Justice Department beyiyo ke banikeza imali here and there. So sithi kuye imali katata kuyaphuma kodwa yiya kwa-justice in your area
Okay.
apho uzofumana imali khona nantsi ileta echaza into yoba siyibhatele imali yakho phaa zezo misunderstandings ezizibangela into yoba abantu bangayifumani imali sebeyifuna.
I see you nodding there, Takalani. But I mean, we know, Utatum Dais just hit the nail on its head. But we know amongst the African families and culture, there's lots of disputes over money. There's lots of secrecy surrounding beneficiaries as well. So maybe tell us, Utatum Dais just explained, usually the beneficiaries are the children. But then, as I've just mentioned, there's secrecy. Ubaba can come this side and work here, and then he starts a whole new family that the previous family didn't know about. So this also, I'm sure, must aid to the many problems that these people incur when it comes to claiming, because suddenly there's children that the wife from the homestead is not aware of, and so forth. How do you then mitigate around those challenges?
So our unclaimed benefits in terms of the death cases are slightly different from those of the GEPF.
Yes.
From our side, the trustees of the retirement fund are required to identify the beneficiaries.
Okay.
So there we are the same. We are the same in terms of problems that, someone doesn't want to be recognized as a spouse, someone doesn't want to recognize a child born out of wedlock. But the trustees are required to do an investigation on who the true dependents are. And they will then not distribute this money. Same as Mr. Mdal's situation. They will then not distribute that money until the beneficiaries and that issue is resolved amongst the family. And they will do different things to try and ascertain who the beneficiaries are.
Yes.
Whether it is birth certificates, and I've heard of some funds even doing DNA tests, to try and make sure that they're paying the right beneficiaries. But we do need to make sure that while you are still a member of a fund, that you update your information, you inform your family of your beneficiaries. And I know you've mentioned that there is secrecy, but it really does leave those people that you are trying to benefit from, or that you would want to take care of once you're no longer here, in a worse off position.
True.
If you do not give the fund the right information so that they can do the investigations. But once it is an unclaimed benefit, if you were to pass away and you hadn't claimed your benefit, it will be paid into an estate, and the estate will then distribute to the heirs or to the people that would benefit from the estate of that person. So, and again, we would face the same problems that people don't necessarily know how to open those kind of accounts. They might not have enough money to go to court and open accounts and estate-led accounts and get letters of authority and executorship and all of that. So we really do need to also, and what the Financial Sector Conduct Authority does as well, is just financial education. It's one of our mandates, to make sure that people understand their benefits, they understand the financial products that they're in, and they also know how to then claim, and their families also have enough information on how to claim the different financial products that they would have taken out in the course of them being in employment or otherwise as well.
But then, Sister Galan, while we're still there, I'm just going to take a quick tweet from our viewers there. Unzanza Saunders says that it is so difficult to trace monies from employers sometimes, especially the HR departments that are not keen to assist. So what happens in the situation where these people have been sent from pillar to post? Because sometimes it's just literally not having the adequate information to go to the right places. And these people end up giving up because they don't have enough resources, as we mentioned earlier.
Yes, and because we recognize that problem, What we've done on our side is that we have a dedicated team of staff that deals with unclaimed benefit inquiries. And people need to just understand there is a difference between your company and the fund that you would be getting this provident money from, or this retirement money from. So the employer's cooperation is not necessary for you to get money out of the fund. And I know, our relationships with our employers are not always perfect, and we believe that the employer should authorize you getting this money. But in actual fact, the retirement fund is a separate legal entity from the company. So whatever information that you have of that company, give it to us so we can start looking at whether we can locate a fund. The fund will pay you without the employer's cooperation. So, and because we recognize that is why we established the database that we host on our website, free of charge, that people can then go onto that website or on our website and look at whether they have a benefit, a potential benefit payable to them. We have taken out any personal information, ID numbers, dates of birth, and all of that. So you can go in there and look at whether you've got a benefit. Perhaps you worked at the SABC and you never claimed your money. The system will then tell you, yes, there is a benefit available. This is the fund that you need to contact, and here is their contact details. The fund will also then get an email on their site notifying them that Alicia has done an inquiry on the FSCA's database. Here are her contact details. She might be a potential claimant. And then they will verify whether you actually have a benefit or you do not. So I would encourage people, obviously, get as much information as you can, but we understand, that a company might have closed down, there isn't much information. Also, the children of that member might not have any documentation at all.
Yeah.
Let that not discourage you, because then you are saying I don't have anything to prove. Let's at least start the inquiry process, and let's see whether we can then assist you with whatever documentation you have.
And I like the fact that you said, Sister Galani, that in extreme cases, to prove any DNA or relationship to the beneficiaries and so forth, one can actually go and do a DNA test. So people do have access to such facilities. Mbugeli, we are live in studio, 011-714-5958, alternatively 011-714-5817. Yilungelo Lakho, live on SABC 1 in Mzansi for sure. We're talking about unclaimed benefits in pension. Zihlalele ningayilandi anilandi imali zenu. Siyabona emva kwekhefu. Sabuga Yilungelo Lakho live kumamba phambili SABC 1. I know it's a bit of a different experience and atmosphere. Sesimuvile Mbugeli, we are live on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5:30, of course with a repeat broadcast ngolesine. Uhlale nje ubuka umabonakude wakho uzobona lapho ukuthi sirepeata nini. 011-714-5958 noma 011-714-5877. Ungasithumela ke lapha yana i-email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyatholakala futhi ku Facebook. Mbugeli. My guest today is Stagalani Lukhamaine was a FSCA alongside Utatu Phumzile Mda of the Government Pensions Administrations Agency. Ungasithinta ke lapho Mbugeli mangabe wena khona umuntu omaziyo ekhaya noma mhlawumbe wezwa kuthi ubaba noma umkhulu noma ukhokho wesebenza ngapha eGoli mhlawumbe inkampani zavala imali kodwa ke akazange azayithole zeimpesheni uyasho uSistagalani uthi noma kuthiwa aninawo amaphepha izani phambili nizokwazi ukuthi indaba yenu bathi ukuyifakela ibuko sisho yona ke iFSCA bathi bafuna nina babukeli because there's about 42 billion wamarandi ohleli ulapha kuma unclaimed benefits. All right, maybe Tatumda, maybe let's talk about in pertaining to the government pensions. What happens in a case where then a beneficiary is no longer alive? What happens to that money?
Into eyenzeka That's the death case. So the family goes to the wife, children, the children. If the wife and the children are not there, then there's a second level of the family, like the parents and stuff like that. So kodwa yona ide claim.
All right, siyabonga Tata Umdala. Let's take our caller, Upo Donald, all the way from Limpopo. But Donald, thank you so much for calling us. Yilungelo Lakho. Singakunceda kanjani today, bhuti wami?
Mama, ngiyabulela ungene Yilungelo Lakho.
Siyakwamukela,
Ngicela
Yebo baba.
ukubuza mangabe ke umuntu ofana nami kanje owayemncane ngaleso sikhathi ubaba wayeshiya umsebenzi kodwa kuyazwakala ukuthi wasebenza as mine the rest of his life but manje akasaphili.
Okay.
And then masiyoclaima lezi mali kuzo zonke le ndawo siloko sisizwa ukuthi okay ungangena la njengami ngike ngaya nakwamzilikazi everywhere la ngicabanga ukuthi ngathola khona usizo. Bangitshela ukuthi kufanele ngize noma khulu izikophu or idompasi. Enye number njengayazi wabeyibiza ukuthi yini number. So everywhere la ngizama khona ngitshela ngalezi zinto. So iquestion yami ukuthi masingekho lezi zinto kusho ukuthi sekuphelile na ayikho enye document mhlambi engasebenza ukuthi lezi mali zitholakale ngoba zona kuyazwakala ukuthi sikhona.
Yebo baba, siyabonga kakhulu baba uDonald. Ngicela ulalele lapho ibisisichazela intokazi uSister Kalani, but let me go back to her. Sister Kalani, maybe just on the back of that question, I'm sure you understood what his question was, but very importantly, I wanted to address this with you, particularly in regards to the mines. I mean, the people that were mine workers. I mean, a lot of people, we've had numerous complaints on the show, on Yilungelo Lakho, people wanting to know how they can claim benefits. Their fathers or their grandparents or relatives were working in the mines, but they do not have further information. Bringing me back to Donald's question, who says he's tried everything. He says his father was very young when he was still in the mines, and when he passed away, he was still a young boy. So he says he's tried everything, and he cannot produce any of the documentation that is required. And then he says, but is there anything else that can be done if he can prove that he's a child to this man? I mean, really?
Yeah. I think what's very, very important, and perhaps we should have also just started at this point, is that just because you were employed does not necessarily mean that you had a retirement fund that you were contributing to. So, and you know, when we're talking about mines in 1960 or mines in 1950, there's a history that goes with it,
yes.
You know, that could probably take us 5 other shows.
Exactly.
You know,
which we don't have time for today.
For members with TB and silicosis and all of these other benefits that miners and compensation that was due to them. But it's very important to understand that it's possible, and not just in the mining sector. It's possible that you were employed, even today for that matter, you are employed and you do not have a provident fund benefit due to you. Now, in the mining sector, why he's being asked for all of those documents, the maculoscope and other identification, is because we use that, and it was used as the main form when someone was employed to be able to track a miner throughout their employment life in the mining sector. So it's very easy. Once you have an industry number or a maculoscope number, the mining funds and the administrators have those as one of their unique identifiers on their side as well, in order for them to check whether a person has a benefit or not. But again, I would not dissuade someone from checking, because we are working and those funds are working with organizations such as TEBA, that would have been one of the main companies that was employing or assisting mines to employ people. So funds have done trying to check information with TEBA as well and rebuild some of this data that has been lost throughout the years. And a lot of funds and companies are doing a lot of that work, and we work with them as well. So If you come forward and you let us know, then we check with those funds. They also check with the Minerals Council, who was also the main employer or employer organization in there. So because we know some of these complexities, especially in the mining sector, we have tried to find ways to address those challenges. So I would say come forward, but please, and I'm going to say this throughout our discussion, don't pay people to do this work for you. Come to us, we will do it for you for free. I'm hearing him say that he has knocked on different doors in different places. He's probably had to pay for that, and it's unnecessary to do it. Please come forward to us so we can assist you for free. And, I always say we might not give you the answer that you want, but at the very least, you will then have an explanation for what could have possibly happened to those benefits as well. We will also do our best to contact employers and try and find out what actually happened to that benefit.
Yes, Sister Galani. Donald, I hope you're listening from Limpopo, because Sister Galani says you can come through and come forward. But where does he go, Sister Galani? Where? He's in Limpopo, is a regional office, is a provincial office. What can he do?
Yes, so we only have our head office in Pretoria, but he can email us on pensions.queries@fsca.co.za, or he can call our toll-free number and make an inquiry that way. And our toll-free number is 0800 203722. And he can call through to our offices as well on 012-428-8000. And he will then be directed to the person to assist. I'm also available. I get emails and assist with queries as well all the time. Because, once you have the history and you've been dealing with the matter for a long time, it's also easier to also be assisting as one of the people at the FSCA as well.
I'm sure you can pick up those commonly made mistakes and challenges that people come through with. Thank you so much, Sister Galani. We put Donald to approach the office. Details of Sister Galani, we're going to leave them there on the screen, or check it towards the end of the show. Let me come to you, Tatumda. There's a question from one of our viewers here, Madeline Vessels. She says, my story is different. My father was working at the municipality and he passed away in 2012. My mother claimed the money and she was getting a monthly income from the NJMPF until she passed away last month. Now I need to know what's next. Is that money off since she has passed away or not? We are even questioning that.
Msasazi,
Yes.
municipalities, pensions are outside government.
Okay.
So I'm sure Tagalana can
assist there.
more on that. But
okay.
Only straight away.
Okay, maybe that's where the mistake was made. Bahambile sistagalani bayobuza ku government over a municipal thing. So it becomes very important to know ukuthi okokuqala which constituency are you actually going to go to look for this money?
Yes. It is part of the municipalities do fall under the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, so they have their own retirement funds that we would be able to assist. But from the FSCA side and the GEPF side, our inquiry form actually allows you to make an inquiry on the GEPF. So we're not going to take you from pillar to post. We work together.
Okay.
If it is that we know that this is not a fund that falls under us, we're not going to say to you, please go and contact the GPF. This is not our matter. We have got dedicated people on either side that will take inquiries either from the GPF to the FSCA or the other way around. But the pension that she's referring to, the inquiry that you read out, funds do pay a spouse's pension. Some of them have a child's pension, but in some instances, and we would just have to have a look at those specific rules of that fund because they are different. Some of them, the pension ceases with the spouse, and there is no capital payment that would then be payable to any of the beneficiaries. You can imagine that the fund works on whatever contributions they were able to receive is what they would be able to budget to pay for a pension on behalf of somebody, on behalf of a member or a spouse.
All right.
They're not making money for forever on your behalf to be able to pay even your children. Until they pass on. So it's limited in most instances to spouses and to children up to a particular age, and then the pension will stop. So please let her come through and make her inquiry with us again. We will have a look at those rules, and then we will get an answer for her from the fund and also from our records to see whether any benefit is payable after the spouse's death as well.
Thank you so much. Madeline Vessels, I hope you are watching. They say that you can go and get in touch, of course, and get in touch with the FSCA and see what you can, whether you or not you are liable for any benefits. All right, let's take uSizanele intombi yangakithi all the way from KwaZulu-Natal. Siyabonga ntokazi ukubamba ucingo. Singakusiza kanjani namhlanje? Ubani ogodla impesheni yababa or umkhulu?
Hello.
Hi Sizanele, kunjani?
Ngiyaphila unjani?
Ngiyaphila ntokazi. Ngithi ubani ogodla impesheni kamkhulu or ubaba?
Angathi ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi phela njengoba besebenza lapha emayini.
Yebo. Usakhumbula ukuthi wayesebenza emayini nini sis?
Ngisemncane mina ngengazi.
Okay. Okay, so uyazi ukuthi ubani ubaba noma umkhulu obekasebenza emayini?
Umkhulu.
Okay.
Nabobhuti abawu2. Omunye ke washonela khona emayini. Lo owashonela khona emayini umfana wakhe ukhona lapha eGoli.
Okay.
Uthini yena? Athole lutho.
Uthini yena? Uthi akazange azayithola imali zababa?
Azange athole lutho, angithi bengihlala naye phela. Akaze athole lutho and still namanje uyabuya ekhaya ukhona ngokomsebenzi eGoli.
Okay. All right. Mekuthiwa kuyiwa kule nkampani isasebenza le mine le umkhulu ayisebenza kuyona Sizanele?
Ngicabanga ukuthi uyasebenza. Angaze ngizongichecke mina ngiqala ukuvula amehlo ngesikhathi kufika labantu abathi kunemali ezikhokhwayo, kunemali egitshelwa kuyo eGoli kuphindwa ka100 angaze bephinde kangaka abantu.
Ngiyabonga-ke ntokazi, no, but I think singakhona ukuthi sikusize ntokazi. So we're just going to sizokunikeza ama-details abantu bethu ama-guests wethu bezobona ukuthi bangakusiza kanjani, particularly usisitakalane. Mbukeli, those numbers are going to be rolling on your screen right now. Siyabuya emva kwaleli khefu ngayindawo Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Welcome back. Our participation lines are still wide open. Shayela ucingo uzwakalise umbono wakho, usibuze umbuzo, inombolo zisescreenini. Let me just give them to you again. Ngiyazi ukuthi sisestudio sisha abantu abaningi inamba zangapha SNT nabakayitholi. 0117145958, alternatively 7145877. consumer@sabc.co.za is our email address, and of course siyatholakala lapha ku Facebook as well. My guest today is Sitakalani Lukhaimani of the FSCA, alongside Ubabu Phumzile Mda of the Government Pensions Administration's agency. We are talking about unclaimed benefits namhlanje. Mbukeli, uma ngabe wena khona ke umuntu wasekhaya, a relative obeka sebenza mhlambe emayini noma kuma company lana eGoli, anazi ukuthi imali zakhe kwaphelela mhlambe washona, izingane esekhona, umndeni usekhona, isizukulwane esekhona, niyanxusa abantu bakithi ukuthi nihambe niyo raise ama inquiries about the fact that abantu kungenzeka ukuthi nayo imali ekumele iphuma. Sisho ukuthi guaranteed if umuntu wakini ubesebenza kuleyo ndawo, obviously imali ikhona. Bebeshila ama guest wami ukuthi kungenzeka ukuthi yebo umuntu beqashiwe emsebenzini kodwa ke ubengenayo i-pension benefit. All right, so Sitakalani, let's go back to Zanele's question before we went to the ad break. Zanele says her grandfather was working in the mines. She can't remember necessarily the time time, the years that he was working there. But apparently he died in the mines. He also had a son that was working there who also died in the mines. So she's the granddaughter. There's one brother who's still alive from the grandfather. And she's wondering, like, is there any, how would she know? Like, how would she even start with the process of inquiring whether or not she's entitled to any benefits? Because the son is there, and apparently he says that they haven't been very helpful towards him.
Yes, so that is one of the other difficult cases that we deal with, where people don't have a lot of information to go on. But again, if we don't start the inquiry process, we won't know what it is that we require you to try and ascertain or to try and get. Because, you know, it's one thing to say I don't have a death certificate, but you could always go to Home Affairs and then see if that they can assist you in getting a death certificate. Whether you can then go to other organizations to sort of rebuild that person's life in a way that you can then ascertain the information that we are requiring. And you know, sometimes when people say the mine was in Joburg. And we then start looking at, okay, can perhaps the Minerals Council assist us in trying to see which employers in that particular area, if you can at least guide us in some way, then we can start making some inquiries. I really want to encourage people, don't sit back and say, I don't have anything. You know, I don't have any information. You have something. We need to then say to you, we have done what we can, but we will not be able to proceed because we don't have the following information. But if you don't at least get the process started, then we're going to just sit with money and we won't know where to start looking for that person, because as she's explaining, the person, the people that she's trying to assist are already deceased. So where do we start looking for them if we don't have her contact details to at least start the process to say she's looking for benefits on behalf of these people? The mining ones are difficult. But please, I want to say, trust me, but please understand that from our side, because we understand those challenges, we are trying to work with the relevant organizations to try and rebuild this information. And it's possible, you know, that perhaps there's no benefit on the retirement side, but maybe the Department of Health is looking for this person to pay out a benefit on a TB or silicosis benefit that might have been due, or there was a settlement that was due. Reach out and at least start the process so we can then say to you, unfortunately, on this end, we were not able to get you an answer. But if you don't get started, we don't have any, we won't be able to move forward.
All right, let's go to Ubabu Pumzile. Datumda, maybe let's backtrack here. I'm starting to understand that you might not have similar processes in terms of claims and so forth with the FSCA. So maybe take us through then, how would one check at this stage, bearing in account those people, who are from far-flung rural areas, they don't have the resources or digital resources that they might need to just log on and find certain information on the web and so forth. So bangaqalaphi baba ukuthi bazama ukuthi bathole ukuthi ngingenzeka yini ukuthi mhlambe nginemali baba? Tatumda, can you hear me? All right, we seem to be struggling.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Tatumda.
Bensathi akunzimanga kakhulu kanti. Umuntu angaqala ngosifonela nje be-toll free number yethu ethi 0800 117 669. And eyesibini ke, you know, waqala ngomsoka futhi. Eyesibini is that i-GPF ine-offices zayo 1 to 3 in all the provinces. Ubela umqonqoze nje emnyango uchaza ingxaki yakho. Sizakunceda. Funa ukukhumbula into yoba 95% of thina siyi-GPF i-records zabantu bethu esibafuna sinazo.
Yes.
Immediately uzichaza uba ungubani, we already know uba ungubani. Siza kubuza nje imibuzo uqinisekisa uba nguwe nyhani nalowo. 95% of that.
All right.
Of that, we've got your records.
Okay, thank you, Tatumda. We're going to take our final ad break. Oh, my goodness. Numbers over lapho escreenini. Uyasho babumda. You can phone them mangabu ufuna ukwazi ngama benefits if you are a beneficiary. 0800 117 669. Law my details so afaka at the end of the show as well as our Facebook page. Ungayindambukele, we're taking our final ad break. Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. No majali. Ungayindawo. Yes, Mbukele, it is our final segment. Again, kodwa ke ingcingo zethu savulile. I can allow 1 or 2 calls if TJ nomthaki bangivumela. That's my director and my EP today. So, number nazi escreenini, you can contact us there. My guest today is Tagalani Lukhaimani of the FSCA alongside Ubabu Phumzile Mda of GPAA. All right, Babu Mda, I have in front of me a book here. This book basically says unclaimed benefits. We did a similar show back, I think, in a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected, or earlier last year. And there's over 201 pages. In fact, it's got 202 pages. It lists the beneficiaries, their names, and all the people that can benefit there. So do you still have these hard copies at your offices? Can people still have access to these things? What is going on in terms of making sure that people do have the relevant information within reach?
Yeah, ezincwadi zikhona nge-province, each and every province inencwadi ezinjalo zonke. Now, even you can Google that. You can find that information from Google.
Okay.
You can find that information. And uzokwazi bafumana igama lakho ba ukula list nawo kanye ukula list. And on top of that, uba uya ofisini nayiphina ye-GPF ezoncwadi zikhona. Ungena nje ujonge igama lakho balikho pha, and from there you can take it from there and claim your benefit.
But then those would be listed beneficiaries, right? So what if kuqhamuka those secret children nabebengaziwa ekhaya and maybe want to find out if they are beneficiaries? What happens then?
Yabona ke uba awukho kula list and ifamily yakho mhlawumbe ayikwazi, uzobeka ingxaki yakho, so thatha i-details zakho siyifake kwi-unit ekhoyo apha ePretoria, which will start to work to confirm your parents, to make sure that you are beneficiary in this case as well. They will investigate that and come back to you with the correct information.
Datumda, thank you so much, Sister Galani. Unfortunately, Sandosami, I've run out of time. Thank you so much to both my guests, Ubabu Phumzile Mda, GPAA, alongside Sister Tagalani Lukhaimani, FSCA. Mbukeli, you've been a wonderful audience. Namhlanje, thank you for all your contributions. Siyabuya next week, same time and place. Ungakhohlwa, I repeat, umajaluthi unithanda nonke emakhaya. Nisale kahle.